Yeah, that word sensory is exactly what I was thinking of as you were talking, and what I keep having to basically I keep having to unlearn the way that I've thought about the body, and I'm not planning on doing this like you are or like they are, but I am very curious and it's fascinating. But I asked my dentist at this last visit some questions about, like, what are these appliances in my mouth actually doing?
Mhm.
Like, are my teeth going to move? Like, what, because my understanding of dentistry is orthodontic. Like, move the teeth,
Mhm.
fix the problem, make your smile look pretty, whatever.
Right.
And she said, no. She said, it's neuro, it's sensory. It's, look, this ALF in your mouth
Oh,
pulls your
when you got the
tongue.
valve, can you, because you eventually, did they eventually, so you had the splint first, and then eventually you had to get the ALF?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Okay,
well,
so,
and
yeah,
I
so,
was in my initial consult,
mhm,
it was clear that I needed both of these.
okay,
So the ALF just takes longer to make.
yeah.
Um, the splint can be made quickly. The ALF, they have to send it away and have it made.
Mhm.
Um,
And the ALF is being used to give some expansion to your palate?
so I don't want to say, because I don't really completely understand how the ALF works.
Okay.
I know what it is, and I know that, so it's basically just a wire appliance that uh, attaches to my upper palate at the, for me, I don't know if it's different for other people, but my first molar, so right in front of my back teeth, those teeth. Um, and then it's just a wire that is, has a little bit of pressure on the roof of my mouth. And there's different kinds of, from what I'm aware of, there's different kinds of appliances in the dental industry
Yeah,
that
there
look
are.
like this and do certain things. And so I was asking her questions. It's like, what is this going to do to my mouth? And um, she said, my goal is not necessarily to move your teeth. And she said to me, this was the most amazing thing. She said, and she said this to me the first time I worked with her and got this plant. She said, if you want to do orthodontic work with me, you have to earn the right to be a dental patient. I will not move your teeth until your body is ready to accept your teeth in a
That's
new position.
Yeah, that's a
Won't do it.
really
And
important
that, it
point.
blew my mind, man, because A, it meant that she wasn't interested in selling me braces that I didn't need and that probably would make my problem worse. And B, it told me that she had an understanding of how the bite and the teeth affect the rest of the body. So she's told me multiple times, I don't really think you're going to need braces. You might want them for aesthetic reasons, but I don't think you'll need them.
Mhm.
Maybe it'll change over the course of treatment. I have no idea. But the the function, as far as I'm aware of the second appliance, is like tongue posture. Get your tongue to rest on the roof of your mouth and explore the roof of your mouth. Get the sensory experience of the roof of your mouth.
Mhm.
And when she put this ALF in my mouth, that's a funny thing to say. It rhymes, but I just I sat in a chair and laid on a table, and I just kind of tweaked out for 20 minutes. It was just like I kind of just did this and closed my eyes, and my eyes moved back and forth a lot.
Mhm.
I had My body was like contracting and relaxing in certain ways.
Mhm.
It was,
All of which I have experienced myself. And
yes.
now let me, this is a place to interject. Uh, Actually, what, continue with your story and then I'll interject afterwards. So you're
Yeah.
you're kind of on this table.
I'm on this table. I'm like, I can't
Is,
handle my
is,
life.
is the actual the PRI therapist there with you at the same
Yeah,
time?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
both there.
Okay.
And they have both been through this as well. So they know, they're both uh, former torsions, or,
Oh, okay.
so they know what is going on. Um,
It is an autonomic nervous system realignment.
well, I said, this is like drugs. Like,
Yeah.
what what is going on in my head right now and in my body? It was like a reset button.
Yeah.
And um, and so I, my PT was like, all right, I need you to do some stuff. Because I'd been laying there for about 20 minutes. And he had me do the exercise that he tested me, the PRI tests for mobility and neutrality.
Okay.
When I started a month ago and the PT tested me, I was a zero.
Mhm.
I failed the tests basically.
Was this the one where the leg is on the guy's shoulder?
No, that's my exercise. The tests, which like where they take your arm and they do this,
Mhm.
like all of
Oh,
the,
okay.
and
The basic range of motion test.
yeah, range of motion,
Oh,
basic range of motion. Like I was a zero when I started this treatment.
which just means extension. You were stuck in a state of tension.
Yeah, I was messed up. And so after they put the ALF in, he tested me and I was a 5, which is the highest. So like they had basically, all of a sudden my brain was like, let go.
It's just management of tension. And your brain has to feel safe to let go. And now those tests, when they change, it means your body has relaxed. But
Yeah.
your body could not relax until you experienced pressure in your palate,
Yeah. I mean, literally
regulating tension.
it's like no one moved anything in my mouth. There was no movement, like no dental work happened. All I had was a device that gave pressure and sensory. It was just sensory experience.
Yeah, that's all.
And it just changed my entire body. He tried to get me to go back into the pattern by having me do my exercise on the opposite side.
Uh,
And I was able to do it. And he then tested me again and I was still neutral. Reached out to my PT. I texted him and said, hey, I'm noticing these changes. And because I was actually having pain from the ALF with the splint in my mouth. And so I would take the ALF out and tooth pain would go away, put it in, come back. So then I was like, oh, I'll take the splint out and see what that does. And my mouth is fine. So I can wear the ALF with no pain and without the splint, and I'm much better. I slept without my splint last night, which was amazing. I wasn't afraid of clenching my teeth to death. But yeah, and I texted him today and said, hey, can I, like, how often should I wear the splint? And he was like, you may not need to wear it very much anymore, just occasionally. So hopefully whatever cues I need have moved on from that. And I may have to go back to it at some point, but the cues that I guess the cues that I need are changing. So.
And so did they leave you with a program to do, like the techniques that they want you working on?
Yeah, I have an exercise to do right now. Just one. I'm supposed to do the exercise that I did for last month. I'm supposed to do that occasionally. So like twice a week. But the exercise that I have right now is actually really simple. It's really hard.
They're all hard. Done correctly, they're all hard.
Yeah. And then they said on Wednesday, they were like, we're not going to give you the exercise that we want to give you because we don't think you can handle it. Because my response was so overwhelming. Like I was so overwhelmed by the ALF when I put it in, and my body just went crazy. And so whatever they're going to give me next, they were like, we're going to mess you up. Like, we're going to destroy you, but in a good way. So yeah, I mean, so it's slow and steady, and it's, yeah, but I don't know how long I'm going to do this. But I don't really care.
If you had experienced that, but weren't with two very experienced people, what would you have thought?
I mean, I had, in my pain journey, I had tried to do some things that gave me similar results. So I had tried some psoas release techniques that make you shake. You fatigue the psoas and then you get in a position and it releases. And so I had had some similar experiences, but and at that point I was just so willing to try anything
Yeah.
that I'm not sure that I cared. But I think if this happened to someone who didn't know, like like if you don't have, like, I think I have a pretty high level of body awareness.
Mhm.
Like, I kind of know what my body is doing just because I've thought about it for years.
Yeah.
And I think if
Yeah.
you
It becomes your obsession.
yeah, I had obsessed over it
Yeah.
and I was fixated on it. But I think if you don't have that and then you somehow get out, it could be like really overwhelming.
Mhm.
And then actually probably I think the harder thing would be, so when I got neutral the first time from the splint, I was neutral for about 3 hours,
Mm.
and then my body went back because I had to take the splint out. I had to eat,
Yeah.
like, and I went back the next day, and they isolated my problem, gave me exercises. But like, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, what if that's the only time I feel no pain?
Mhm. Yeah.
That would be, I think, worse because if someone doesn't know what they're doing and they can't move you on a path towards neutrality that is consistent and it gives you the neutrality most of the time, then it would just be the most defeating
Yeah, if you
thing
feel
in the
good
world.
for a couple hours. No,
Yeah.
I trust me. And even with everything I know, I still go through ups and downs,
Yeah.
because I was living for so many years, almost probably majority of my life, with a system that couldn't figure out where it was
Yeah.
because I could not see properly, because I was probably only I was suppressing one eye. I wasn't consciously, my brain was not incorporating both eyes equally. And I've had hearing loss. I don't know how long I've had the hearing loss,
Huh.
but we don't think much about hearing loss because you don't notice that. I didn't notice that I couldn't hear the same way out of both ears until I took the test. And she's like, you're close to, you're still on the mild side, but it's close to moderate. I'm at that, moderate, almost at moderate. Um, but hearing is not an option. Like, your brain is still going to try to hear.
Right.
It's going to work harder to do it. Just like all these people are like, I don't want to wear my glasses. Well, you still need to see, and your brain is going to have to work harder. Your
Yeah.
eye muscles are going to have to work harder to make a picture clear, because if not, it's a threat and you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And now you're creating tons of tension in your cranium and the rest of your body because your sensory systems that are built into you to keep you upright and alive are not operating effectively. So it's not really an option.
Yeah.
It's an option to correct the system. That is your option. You don't have to if you don't want to, but your brain is still going to be using a faulty system. And you might feel fine now, but it's just time under tension. The
Yeah.
longer you
Yep.
go under this tension, the more likely you're going to end up in a really strong pattern.
Yeah.
And it's hard for people to conceive of that. I understand. But that's the truth of the situation. But yeah, so I lived for so many years with a system that was not operating. So, am I 100%? Thankfully, I'm not in pain. That's a great thing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And, sometimes do I get some soreness every now and then? Well, yeah, but that's just, that's nothing compared to what I
Oh my
went through
gosh.
with so many years of my life, where you're
Yeah.
just, you know, your mind goes to dark places.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, for everything I want to do in life right now, I'm not in pain, and I can run. I don't even like to run, but I just started running because I could do it without pain.
Uh-huh.
It was unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
And that was over the past couple of months, even though I've had this other issue. But I think everything's starting to work out better. So we'll see about that. But is there anything else you want to add about your experience for anyone who may be watching?
Um, I mean, just I think I would just reiterate what you said, which is just see someone who knows what they're doing. Like, um, and it was it. The funny thing about the torsion and my pain is that, um, uh, so my symptoms started at a time in my life when I also had just some relational and environmental things that went wrong. So
Trauma.
I uh, I actually assumed for years that the physical symptoms I had were depression and like emotional pain.
Mhm,
Um, and I didn't really take my pain seriously.
mhm.
I only took my pain seriously when it became really debilitating. And I wish that I had taken it seriously sooner. So um, I just say, listen to what your body's telling you. There were some things I had to stop doing. I had to stop playing music because
Oh,
playing a
that's the other
guitar,
thing. Musicians are notoriously patterned on that right side because
yeah,
we're
if you playing a guitar like this
yeah,
is the pattern, like because
yeah,
you're doing this.
yeah,
And so I had to stop. I had to listen to what my body was telling me, which was when you play bass, you hate your life. So stop doing it. Like it's
yeah,
funny how you just don't listen to yourself. And
yeah.
so or listen to your body. And so I had to learn, like, listen to your body, take your pain seriously. And I think, as far as PRI goes, there was a time, so when I didn't say this earlier, but when I got my splint from my local dentist,
Mhm.
that was not he doesn't do PRI. He was just
Yeah.
helping
Yeah.
me out. Um, that was the moment when I felt, oh, something's going on here in the rest of my body because of my mouth. And that was the moment when I realized I need to stop messing around with this.
Mm.
Like, because I don't know what's going on. I know that something's happening, but I don't really know. I have no idea how this works.
No.
And I understand that it's sensory, but I don't understand what's happening. I
Mm.
needed someone to help me who knows what they're doing. And so, I would say get
Mm.
real professional help. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And, during COVID times, unfortunately, a lot of people, everything has to be done online. Um,
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll be changing soon. But, I can have a lot of online when I'm not doing any online right now because I'm taking a break. However, um, I screen heavily on that questionnaire for dental and visual for exactly this reason, because you can have tremendous success with people online if those two things are not involved.
Yeah.
If those two things are involved, um, to a large degree, if they're involved, it's quite likely they'll have to see somebody live. Now, just
Yes.
because someone feels more right molar contact does not necessarily mean they have a dental issue.
Mm-mm.
I have other things that just means you're on your right side too much. It's like feeling your right heel too much. That's not necessarily a big thing. But when I see someone's pictures and I see how their body is positioned and I see a jaw that's to the right, this would be my right, when I see one eye that's significantly higher and a jaw to the right and ears that are not seen to be aligned, again, outside the normal asymmetry that we all have, that's where I'm already thinking I can't help this person because I know what
Mm-hmm.
you were experiencing. Maybe they don't have to experience that to that degree, but I know they're not managing pressure and their system cannot manage pressure, and they may need something like what you experienced, like maybe it is just a splint, but I can't help them with that.
Yeah.
And you need someone who can test you effectively to know whether this splint is working.
Well, and
And
your exercise.
you can't do that through the internet. So for people who only are just basically, it's just a pelvis and rib cage issue, like they're just, everything up here is fine for the most part. You can have tremendous success online.
Yes.
But if it's cranially driven, which it was for you and which it was
Mm-hmm.
for me and so many other people, and I'm pretty sure that percentage is going to increase as we do more and more computer work, more and more screen time, and we keep using our eyes too much. Tension is going to be created in the cranium, and you're going to start to get more of these situations where craniums are tightened up because of the lifestyle that we are living. But you
Yeah.
have to see someone live to help you manage that type of situation.
Yeah. Your exercises on your website basically unwound my body to a point.
Yes, exactly. They can
And then
help. They can help.
it helped a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
But it would not. I basically was married to them. I had to do them in
Yeah.
order to live,
Right. Right.
um, and so I needed it because it was all up here.
Yeah.
So
And the thing is, this is what I try to tell people. Um, because of I could not have managed you
mm-mm.
in that situation. I don't have the professional experience. I understand the concepts. I know what was going wrong, but I couldn't manage you and help you the way that they could because they just have more, they do it a lot. Um, but what I can, the value that I think I can provide for people in this situation is the perspective of what you're likely not going to be able to overcome
Uh-huh.
through PRI techniques.
Yeah.
Because these PRI techniques are insanely effective. They can help people like you who have this major issue,
Yeah.
but to a point, and they're not going to overcome something that's truly cranially driven, like a visual, like me. Like even I couldn't get completely neutral, and I couldn't stay neutral.
Yeah.
I was doing PRI stuff for like 4 years before I took the head and neck course and found out about these torsion things. I mean, religiously. And the SI joint pain went away for the most part. I never had another SI joint blowout.
Mm.
I never had another neck spasm. But there were other things, obviously. But I have I know from experience what people's challenges are, and that the PRI techniques are not going to overcome that challenge without interdisciplinary care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the value I feel. That's something that I have that that experience and that perspective to help people understand that I can't help you.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I will be truthful. I'm never going to try to help someone I don't think I can help. I refer out, I'm like, look, I've told plenty of people, you have to see someone live, you know. It's important for me to know that sometimes the most helpful thing I can do is say I can't help.